Hello, everyone. Good evening from Tokyo. Today, I have a great pleasure to speak with Nicole. Nicole, she's based in Australia. She's our new member. She's an author. She's also helping people with healing. So, Nicole, we would like to know more about how you became who are you today, and what is your story?
Okay, so well, 5 years ago, I had a big life change, and everything that I was sort of went into a big heap, and like a new me emerged. My marriage ended, and there were all these new sort of things in life that I had to face, new realities, seeing myself from a different perspective. And through, I guess, through the journey of what I was going through and through the whole process, while I was going within and starting to learn about who I was and what I wanted out of life and this whole awakening, I started to find tools that were helping me to really manage this massive change. And with that came the I can't even explain how it happened, but as I was going through this, I was writing a children's book. So whatever I was learning from that just somehow translated in my head into this book that is now published by me, called Lucky and Mucky.
Lucky and Mucky. Okay.
Lucky and Mucky. So basically, it's the story of a journey of a girl called Karma, and they're her two friends. They're like her two feelings. So Lucky is her good feeling. It's like, the person that, it's like her spark in the heart. It's like her warm and fuzzy feeling. And there's a really beautiful, the page that describes the two feelings. It's actually nice even for parents to see, that we all have that. So this is her spark in the heart, the pink, it's the lucky feeling. And then the mucky feeling is what as adults we would call depression, anxiety. So that's mucky. So when I read this to the children, they totally understand. They get the lucky is the happy, and they get the mucky feeling. And it's not telling them you're bad, but it's just saying that's your mucky feeling. So then they can actually talk about it without feeling guilty. And it's amazing how they pick up on it. And from the age of 3, they understand the concepts. And throughout the book, Karma closes her eyes. Mm-hmm. She sits still, closes her eyes, and takes 3 deep breaths. So I do that with the children, and they sit and they close their eyes and they take 3 deep breaths. And I'm talking children who are 3, and they totally do it. And I'm like peeking because it's so cute. And so what I'm saying is that it's just amazing because children are like sponges, at such a young age, and they pick up on everything. We think they don't notice, but they notice. So I guess children who from a very young age are able to understand that their feelings are valid. And I'm talking like from 3 onwards, to 12, even 13. This book not only has a message for the children, but it also has a massive, huge message for the adults, because in this book, the father loses it and he goes all mucky, and then the child makes the parent aware of how they can snap out of it. And so there are lots of different parts in this book and I guess how I relate that back to me and back to my journey is that through my journey of this difficult divorce, I've had to learn how to find the love within myself, and to acknowledge that there are going to be circumstances in my life that are not going to be pleasant, and there are going to be situations that are not going to be easy to deal with. Mm-hmm. But each time, like Karma, I can sort of go into that space of love and find my lucky feeling. And that's what she does. Every time she's challenged, she closes her eyes, takes 3 deep breaths, and she finds her happy place. And that's what I do. And so people say to me, but this and this has happened, and how can you be positive? How can you be smiling, and how can you get out of bed even sometimes? And I guess And that's my commitment to myself, is that, regardless of what's going on the outside, it's how I respond and how I choose to respond. So I can respond as a victim and feel sorry for myself, which is not how I choose to respond, but rather like the way karma does. So that's basically the connection of the book to my life story. And I guess the tools that I have collected that I know that work, I just know that they work, that ultimately every choice you make is within you. It's not out there. And I have a lot of friends who, will come to me because they feel that they can confide in me because I don't have judgment. I'm happy to support friends. But often I say to them, it's wonderful that you're telling me all of this, and I know you're telling me all of these details because you want me to guide you and tell you what to do. But I am an outsider, and I don't know your inner compass. I don't know your life story, your life journey, your soul purpose. That's all from within your body. So I can only tell you, look, you need to go and do that work, and you need to go maybe learn how to meditate, learn how to listen to that voice inside you, because that's what helped me. And so if I did that, I said that to a friend, and she called me the other day and she said, oh my God, everything you said was exactly what I needed to do, because she wanted to run away and come to me and I'll solve everything. And I said, no, because the answers are inside of you. And so I guess my strong message is that once you learn that, honestly, it's like a GPS inside your body. Once you learn that it's all inside, you actually just, it's like, I guess it's just natural to just know that other people are going to have their points of view, but everyone is going to have a different perspective of how to help you from their whole story, from where they come from. So the idea of this book and my message to the world, I guess, is that that there are definitely tools that you can adopt if you are committed to really, really tapping into your true self. And from that place, all your answers come, and it all comes from within. So.
And I'm also curious because you said you already know how to respond to the crisis because you have your personal crisis. And what is your plan now? How do you gonna use this extra time in our lives to prepare for something new or for your next step?
So most people are really afraid of change, and I used to be as well. But then when I realized that change is something positive, because it's actually, everything in your life expires. You've done this, you've got to like step up and move on to something new. So for me, I guess this is an opportunity for me to have a look at my life and really focus on what it is that really is my number one importance. And for me, it really is sharing my knowledge or my wisdom with people who may not have had the experience, and I guess empowering people to find that I guess the that part of them that is okay with what's going on in life. We are so conditioned in our life to be in competition with ourselves, with other people, and we are taught what religion to be, and what that males should be a certain way, and that females should be a certain way, and we're just we have so many conditions placed upon us throughout our life that it's almost like right now we're not being told what. There's just nothing. There's nothing, and it's almost like we're so used to being told what needs to happen, and it's almost like this letting go. And I see isolation as another word is solitude, because when you are in solitude, you're actually forced to be with yourself. You can't run. Even couples who may not be getting along, he runs off to work, she runs off with the children, and everyone's running and running and running, and now it's like, if things are not happening right, you're stuck together. You got to work through your stuff. So I guess it's no more fence sitting. There's no more like sitting and maybe you've got. It's like there's a decision to be made, and I think that that's what this is about. Is everything. The truth is coming to light, because you can't run. You've got to face yourself. You've got to face the things that you're proud of. You've got to face the things that you're not proud of. And from that place comes the change, comes this new person that you're going to flourish to become if you allow it to happen and surrender. So,
And what will be that in your case? So how do you see this going to affect you and maybe your business or future project?
So for me, I guess this has given me a platform in which I've been wanting to do this for a long time, where I would be able to connect with, one-on-one or many people on a platform where we can share ways of really enriching each other, lifting up one another. And I'm not sure how that's going to happen. And I'm not sure, what the details of it are, but I feel like this is what's really coming to the forefront for me at the moment. And I love that I do work with children, and I love what I'm currently doing, but I feel like even before the pandemic, I felt like there's something more for me. I need to step up my game. So I feel like this is the opportunity now. So now's when I'm just looking at all my different options. And like I said, I don't have a fear. I don't have a fear of change because I'm happy to learn. I'm happy to grow. So it's like I'm just going with the flow of life and not against it. And who knows? Sky's the limit, I guess.
Great. So I think you are on the right place. So we have a female who are considering just like yourself to start their own business. And I think now is a great time to think about it and get idea and just get the skills and tools to make it happen. And Nicole, you before this interview, you explained me that you are working with kids so they can understand your book precisely, but this is book also which can be used for the adults as well. So can you just share how that works, what kind of therapy you are providing for the people, with what kind of problems, and who is your, let's say, ideal client, or who are the people who you want to attract and work closely with?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I believe that the children are the future. These little children that we go away, they're the ones that are going to rule the country one day. They're the ones that are watching. They're the ones that are actually, I find, more and more intuitive, that are coming into our world. And I feel like this book gives children validation. It gives them permission to really speak their truth and to say how they feel. And I feel that, often parents are too busy and they don't have the time to actually sit and nurture what the child is asking. And often, you just see, I watch it all the time. And like, for example, on this page here, that's Karma, her father, he has a bit of something happens. He has an irritation. He drops the cake on the floor and he's in a really bad mood and he's swearing, he's saying bad words, and she's watching. And he's got his mucky feeling and her mucky feeling. So they're both in a real And so they're in the car and they're very, very not very happy. And so what Karma does is she actually holds her father's hand and she helps him to, by holding his hand, she says to him, let's go and find a cake in another shop. And then she helps him to snap out of that, that irritation feeling. And sometimes as a parent, and I know that's happened to me with my children, is that like I remember I was in the kitchen and something smashed and I went and I picked it all up and then I was all clean and then I stood up and then something smashed again and I was like, oh my God. And my daughter actually, she was probably about 9 at the time, and she said to me, oh mummy, I think that's your mucky feeling coming out. And it was just like, wow, like she gave it back to me. She showed me that it was not okay. And I just went, yeah, it's just a glass. That's okay. I'll clean it up. And it's almost like, it's really like mirroring to the parents. So I feel that, so that is the, that's why I feel that it's so important that we start working on children when they're young, because I guess if we help children from a young age, then we can help them to become like wellness advocates as adults, because a lot of children who have been wounded as children have had trauma in their life, a lot of them don't fix that trauma, and a lot of them go into adulthood, go into marriages and relationships with childhood.
I think we all have some trauma.
We all have trauma, and that's the thing. And it's not a bad thing, because whatever has happened to you in your life is probably a stepping stone for your growth, because it's from that. If you're willing to look at it and heal from it, then you won't be a wounded adult. So I guess it's really important. It's not just for children, even though this book is a children's book, but it's not just for children. And I think adults need to understand that from a young age, if children are allowed to share their feelings, I mean, what a beautiful world we can have if we can all be given permission to grow and evolve without getting in trouble, without getting bullied. I just think what a beautiful message we're showing our kids, our children.
So how people can find your book? Is there any platform like Amazon?
So you could purchase the book on my website, which is www.luckyandmucky.com. That's
Okay.
the website.
Okay, domain. Okay.
And so it's through PayPal, and that's how I've been selling the book. And for me, I self-published it. I did everything on my own, because when I started, it was one of those things that I just feel like the book will go where it needs to go organically, and there are lots of amazing avenues for me to get this out to the world, and I guess that's stage 2. But for now, look, I've done live readings for some schools and some companies that have wanted some thing for their children or whatever. So I'm always able to do a live reading for any organization that would feel that they could benefit from it. I also have an Instagram page, Lucky and Mucky, and Facebook as well, Lucky and Mucky. So you can see some of the beautiful things that I've done there with children. I've been at schools, and we've made slime in the pink and the purple with the children, and painting, and the children make their own puppets and they can take it home. And so there are lots of things that we can develop on it. And a few people were saying that this is such an amazing Disney potential, because there's so much that you can develop with the happy and sad feeling, and you can have so many different books that would go from this first one. And I'm already working on a second book, which is about self-love. It's about teaching children how to find that really good place, when they're out in the world amongst their peers, that they could stay grounded, teaching. Yeah, so that's what I'm actually working on at the moment. So
parents, they have more time than ever to be with their children. So what will be your suggestion for the parents who are now with their kids finally, but they are not prepared because they don't know even how to communicate with their kids? So what will be the best way to use their time during this time wisely? And
well, I work with children, so I do spend days and days with lots of children and lots of different types of children. And obviously there's no one solution, because boys have different needs, girls have different needs, different personalities, different ages. But I guess the most important thing, and the most not negotiable thing, is just to love your children, just to love them for who they are, for what they are, for what they do, without extra strain, extra stress. If they want to be creative, give them the platform to be creative. If they want to sit in their room and be on their own for a little bit, read or whatever, be on the computer a little bit, allow them to. I mean, I think it's really beautiful to have boundaries, but it's also really good to, and a lot of parents have got these lists of timetables of what to do every day, 11 till 12, lunchtime, this till this. And you know what? Just be a bit chilled. I think the children just need to go with the flow as well. I think we're not robots, and children are not robots. So I think if I was to say what would be the most important thing is to be present, for the parents to be present. If the children need them, they drop everything, they look in the children's eyes, and they make them feel validated. I think that's the most important thing a parent can do, because when I work with children, I always come to their level. I never make myself the teacher and them the child, ever. You know, if they call out and they want to share something, I allow them to do that. So it's this level playing field, and that's what I think. Once parents give children that permission, that they're not just the child that's getting told what to do, but rather having that balance, I think that everybody could be, because children can really see that feedback and go, you know, their behavior will change as well, and they will do what you want them to do. It's just about how you ask them to do things, and you give them you allow them to be part of the decision making process. You know, would you like to do this, or would you like to do this? Maybe we'll do this first, and maybe we'll do this second. And if they agree, then they'll follow the rules, rather than, no, I said you need to do this. You know, there's a very big difference. So really, it's just love and patience.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing this. I think it's very useful for people who are now thinking how to talk with their children. And
get this book, of course, and get this book, because that will give you a lot of things to talk about.
That's what I wanted to say. And of course, Lucky and Mucky is waiting inside of all of us. We all have Lucky and Mucky. And the difference is if you understand which one we are representing. If we understand that, it's completely changed the game. Nicole, this was a beautiful interview. You are so creative. You wrote your book from difficult time. And you are the proof that that's the possible, even when everything seems like horrible. There's actually a time when we can go deeper inside of ourselves and find something beautiful. Nicole, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.